morning, friends. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm Elena and this is Wellspring Home. Today we are going to make some Valentine's Day cookies. My kids have Valentine's Day parties at their school on Thursday and I signed up to send cookies. So we're going to do some Valentine's Day cookies, work on stuffing their Valentines that they're going to bring to their classes, and maybe a couple other things in today's video. First thing I need to do actually is get my dishes put away. We forgot to run the dishwasher last night, so we had to do that this morning. So I'm gonna empty the dishwasher, get the dirty dishes from the sink into the dishwasher, and that way we can kind of start with a clean slate and our dishes from baking can go straight into the dishwasher. As you can probably see, I have my butter and eggs already out of the fridge so that they can come to room temperature. We're gonna do sugar cookies with a buttercream icing. I'm not gonna do any coloring or anything. I don't like to use artificial dye, and I just didn't have enough forethought when I signed up for the cookies to order dye-free food coloring before. So I think I've got some edible glitter I may put on top, but we're not going to do sprinkles or anything. I'm just going to keep it pretty basic for the cookies. Okay, I finished the dishes. I actually went and pinned my hair back because especially when I'm baking for other people or cooking, I try to have my hair out of my face. But we are going to go ahead and start on the cookies. I keep my KitchenAid. This is actually my late mother-in-law's KitchenAid. I got this as a wedding gift. I keep it down in this cabinet because there's an outlet right here, so I just keep it plugged in. I use it enough that I keep it plugged in. And we are going to start, let's do the paddle attachment for the cookies. I really want to get one of those. I don't know if you're going to know what I'm talking about. It's like a hydraulic may not be the right word, but it's a shelf that you put your KitchenAid on, and then it's on like stands, and you can bring it up to where it's at counter level. Oh gosh, I want one of those so badly. That's gonna go on my birthday list this year, is to get one of those. You just like screw it into the cabinet and your KitchenAid sits on it. To not have to like lug this thing up and down, that would be nice. So, like I said, I've already gotten my butter out. I need to feel it. I forgot to take it out earlier this morning, so it may not quite be soft enough. So let's check on that. These are just not quite soft enough. One of them is because I think I left that out last night, intending to put it in my butter crock, but I'm gonna use it for cookies. I'm gonna put these, open them, put them on a plate in the microwave for, I'll probably do 40 seconds at 30%. So if you put it any fuller than that, or if you put the butter in the microwave at full power, it will just melt the butter, but 30% tends to help it soften a little bit. 2 cups of sugar. Go ahead and just get everything ready, because the first thing we'll do is cream the butter and sugar together anyway, so I can go ahead and get the sugar in the bowl. So that's 1 cup, 2 cups. Whoa! It's interesting how unevenly they are. Whoa, okay, that one's actually better. I'll just spend some extra time beating these too to help them get a little softer. So that was 4 sticks of butter. That's 2 cups, right? I'm looking at my recipe here. Yes, 2 cups of butter. I'm gonna rinse my hand. I will, losing my eggs here. There. I will go ahead and start this to really just cream that butter and sugar together. I'll move you guys in a little closer. Okay, that is Nice and light and fluffy. Hopefully you can see that. Lighter in color. So I'm going to add the vanilla. This recipe calls for a lot of vanilla. It calls for 2 tablespoons, which is more. Give this a little shake since it's got the vanilla beans in it. That's more than you typically see in a recipe, but this recipe needs it, otherwise it can get a little dry. I love vanilla, so I always measure over the bowl so that any extra can get into the bowl as well. I'm gonna grab a bowl and crack the eggs into the bowl first. I almost risked it, but this is just a better way to do it in case I get any shell in there. One more scrape down, and then the recipe says to mix it for about another 3 minutes until it's really, really well incorporated. Four teaspoons of baking soda. Excuse me, baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder. And it does not say to mix this with the flour. It actually just says to mix it straight in. All right, now I need 6 cups of flour, added 2 cups at a time. Let me get my leveler. All right, I'm gonna start this really slowly so that the flour doesn't go everywhere. Oh, and it still went everywhere. I have a shield, I just never remember to put it on. It's like my apron. I'm gonna stop and put my apron on. I do this every time. I start baking, get flour all over me, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I have an apron. Same thing with the shield for the KitchenAid. I have one and I forget to put it on the bowl until it's too late and I've gotten flour everywhere. Okay, let's try this again. And here I just slowly add the flour a couple cups at a time. Okay, I think that is good enough. Ooh, don't fall. I don't want to over beat it with the flour because you don't want to develop gluten with cookies. So once you add the flour in, you want to just like stir it or run it till just combined. That way your cookies don't get tough. All right, I'm gonna get all this cleaned up and then I will come back and we'll roll out the dough. Okay, it's actually a little while later now. I needed to stop and feed my baby. And I ended up putting the dough in the fridge for a little while because I had started to roll it out and it just was too soft. It wouldn't really roll. So hopefully now that it is a little bit chilled, it will roll out a little better. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna roll it out a little bit at a time. So I'm gonna actually put half of the dough back in the bowl. Hopefully it does okay. That's at least better than it was. I don't remember having so much trouble rolling out the dough the last time I made this recipe. I'll have to look back and make sure I didn't do something wrong. The outsides are just so crumbly. I probably should have put the dough into discs before chilling it, but my baby woke up, so I needed to kind of stop what I was doing to go feed him. So I just put the whole bowl in the fridge. Uh-oh. Do a little bit more flour on my rolling pin here. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna move this back to the fridge while I cut these out. All right, I got my heart-shaped cutter, and I'm just gonna put this in the flour. Let me grab an offset spatula that will help me get the dough out. So I'm just gonna go, oh good, one half. I'm not super worried about the fact that the top of these isn't very smooth because they'll be iced. So I put these a little bit closer together on the pan than you would a cookie that spreads, like non-rollout sugar cookies or chocolate chip cookies that are going to spread out. You need to put those 2 to 3 inches apart. These cookies are not supposed to spread at all because you want them to maintain their shape. So I could put these just a little bit closer together than I would normal cookie dough. This dough is getting a little bit soft again, so I'm not going to re-roll it a third time. Right now, I'm gonna get another batch out and put this back in the fridge. All right, I'm gonna pop these first 2 batches in the oven while I work on rolling out the rest of them. Okay, let's get these in, and I will rotate these halfway through so that they cook evenly. So not only am I don't actually know if you can see me, not only am I swapping the shelves that they're on, but I'm actually turning the pans around too. So that, because sometimes, like I know with my top oven, the backside gets, I don't know if it gets hotter or it's got hot spots or what, but the backside tends to get more done than the front side. So I just rotate the pans to make sure everything's baking evenly. These cookies ended up taking closer to 8 to 8.5 minutes to get firm, probably because I had so many of them in the oven at one time. I'm gonna give those 1 or 2 minutes on the pan before I move them to a cooling rack. We are going to let those cool completely before we make our icing and get those iced up. In the meantime, I am going to work on stuffing the kids' Valentines. I don't love to do just like candy for their Valentines that they pass out to their class. So I'll show you what I put in their little bags. Okay, so I went to the Dollar Tree, and first of all, I got these little buckets to put the cookies in to send to school. So I got 2 of them because I have 2 older kids that are in preschool. These little Ziploc bags with hearts on them, and then my kids love like stamps and stickers and all of that. So the Dollar Tree had these little packs of 10 stamps, and then I got these little stickers just from Walmart. And this was perfect because it was a pack of 30, maybe it was a little bit more than that actually, because I need 31 and I was able to get a pack of more than that. Oh look, there's even more, so cute. I love those. Okay, so I'm just going to somehow stuff. I already did the stamps, but this is what I'll do. And then once I'm done, I'll put them in here. And I will just, maybe I'll fold them in half and put some stickers in the little bags. Let's see. Okay, I think, let's see if I can. I'm just gonna leave them unzipped like that. I don't think that's gonna be a problem. Oh, I can't get this bucket out. Oh, there we go. I think it's silly that they put those stickers on there. I can't get it off. Those are going to be their Valentines for their classes, and I think they're adorable. Okay, it's a little while later. The kids are home from school and down for naps. So we're gonna get started on the icing. Guys, I'm so excited. I found a thought in the back of my head. I was thinking, I think that I have some dye-free food coloring, and I do. It's this Nature's Coloring India Tree set. And so at first I thought, I think I have that, and then I was worried that I did not have red because, oh, where'd it go? There it is. Because I was thinking that I had bought it for my daughter's birthday party last year, where I would have used red to make pink, but I think I bought it for my son's birthday party. So I went ahead and tested it. I don't know how well you can see this. I'll move the camera up. I went ahead and tested it in my milk that I'm going to use for the icing, just to see like how potent the color would be. We're going to need a lot of it. It's not like normal food coloring where you just do a drop and you get the color you want or you get the vibrancy you want. We're probably going to need a good bit of it to at least dye the entire batch. I'm doubling the recipe of icing just because I wasn't sure how much icing this was going to make. The recipe said, I think 24 cupcakes. I don't know how that translates to cookies, so I would rather have more than enough, because we will eat some icing if we need to. I'd rather have more than enough than not enough for all of them. So I'm just realizing there's still a little bit of water left in the bowl from when I washed it. Let me go ahead and scoot you guys closer. My butter is not quite, this is what I'll do. I'm gonna start beating the butter to get it to a softer consistency first, and then I will add and then I'll move you guys closer so that you can see. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this going first, because I had the butter out this morning, but I put it back in the fridge when I went to get the kids, because this recipe in particular says if your butter is too warm, then you just kind of get a greasy icing. And we're making American buttercream today. I typically prefer a French buttercream or Swiss meringue or something that's a little bit lighter, but I needed something that could hold up and that would crust. This is, again, this recipe. This recipe is they call it a lightly crusting American buttercream. Really, to get a good crust on your buttercream, you need shortening in it. I don't really like cooking with shortening, to be honest with you, because I try to stay away from like vegetable and seed oils. So I prefer just buttercream, but that means that you don't get as good a crust as you would with a buttercream that had shortening in it. Let me grab some here. This will work. I probably should have used the paddle attachment to do this, but I'm just going to get this all out of here, and then I will just let this kind of whip until it comes to more of a room temperature. Let's try this again, and then I'll move you guys closer. Okay. I'm going to add the vanilla and then just continue to let this really beat for a while. Let's see, the recipe says 2 to 3 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm going to add a little bit more than that because I want to, well, not only have we doubled the recipe, I'm going to go on the more vanilla side of things because I want to lower the amount of sugar. I just find American buttercream so sweet that I feel like if I can up the other flavors and cut the sweetness just a little bit, I think it will be better. I think that was 5. Well, more is more. I don't remember what number I'm at, so I'm going to go with that. That's what I get for trying to talk and pour and count at the same time. So I'm gonna go ahead and just beat these until they're really well combined. And I'll try to move it so where you can see it just a little bit more. Give this a scrape. Just like we did on the cookies. I'm just gonna stop it, scrape it down, and start it again. And you can see the vanilla has given it a little bit of a yellow tinge. That's what's going to happen when you're using actual vanilla extract. Uh-oh, lost some butter there. When you're using actual vanilla extract like that, it does kind of darken the color a little bit. It's really difficult to get a white buttercream, but thankfully we are going to be able to color this today. Okay. I'm going to start adding the powdered sugar. The recipe calls for 4 cups of powdered sugar per recipe, so I would be using 8 cups of powdered sugar, which is 2 pounds, which is this whole bag. I'm going to try to see if I can get away with cutting the amount of powdered sugar. I'm also going to add a pinch of salt. I had meant to add a pinch of salt to the cookies as well. I just really like adding salt to my desserts. I think it really brings out the flavor, helps kind of cut the sickly sweetness a little bit. Oops, let me do it this way. I remembered my cover for this one, but I'm just going to start slowly adding the powdered sugar and see if I can get away. I'm just going to taste it and see if I can get away with cutting the sugar just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to guess that that's about 6 cups of sugar. So I'm going to let it whip there and then I'll taste it and see if I feel like it needs more sugar. It's starting to get a little creamier. I may not be the best judge of this because I love the flavor of butter. Yum, that's really yummy. Let me add just a pinch of salt. We may need to do just a little bit more sugar so it's not quite so buttery. Which again, I don't mind the buttery flavor, but it does need to have a sweetness because the cookies are not super sweet. Let me also wipe down the sides. Again, give her a scrape. Okay, give that another little taste. Gosh, that vanilla is so yummy. I'm gonna add just a touch more sugar. I'm also going to, where did my dye go? I'm also going to start adding some drops of food coloring to see if I can't get it a kind of pink shade, since it's for Valentine's Day and all. We're getting there. I'm also going to add a little bit of the milk just to loosen it up a bit. So I'm going to start, I think the recipe calls for 2 to 3 tablespoons. So that's 3 teaspoons. I believe that 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon. I might have that wrong. Let's just start 1, 2, 3. I do want this to be a little bit of a lighter texture. So that was 3 tablespoons right there. And remember, we doubled the recipe, so theoretically we'll need more. Let me go ahead with some more of this. All right, let's pause and give her a scrape. It's starting to look a little bit pinky. It's not super vibrant, but you're really not going to be able to get that really vibrant color with non-dye food colorings, which is totally fine with me. I don't mind it being a nice light shade. I think I'm adding more to the spatula rather than actually putting it off. Let's give her a taste. That's pretty darn delicious. I am getting like a little bit of the food coloring flavor, so I may go in again and add a little bit more sugar. I think that's going to be good on that. Making a mess of sugar over here. So that's a total of 4 tablespoons of milk so far. We'll see if we need to add any more. And I'm going to add just another tiny pinch of salt. And let's give her one more scrape down and another little taste and see how we're doing. That's pretty good. I think that's a good stopping point. This would be so good if it were colored with strawberry, what's it called? Freeze-dried strawberries, and it had a strawberry flavor. Oh, that would be so yummy. I love strawberry in like cakes and cookies and things. All right, I'm gonna get all of this cleaned up and then we will get to icing our cookies. Okay. My piping skills are not very good. As much as I love to bake, I have not mastered the artful baking. So I'm just gonna use an offset spatula and ice them very rustically. And then I was right, I do have some of this edible, this calls it Dazzle Dust, edible glitter, just little gold glitter flakes, and I will put some of that on there. Friends, while I was working on these, I was very quickly reminded why I don't normally do this type of cutout cookies. They take so long between rolling out the dough, cutting everything out, baking it in batches, letting it all cool, icing them. It took me a good while to do this. But I do think it was worth it. It was a special treat for Valentine's Day, and they ended up really yummy. I'm gonna hit this batch with some of the luster dust, and then I will kind of show you a close-up of how these turned out. I think they're really cute. I like that they're not super, super neat. They feel homemade, and they are. I'm probably gonna end up having this stuff all over me. You can kind of see the shimmer. Okay, a quick note. I have so much frosting left over, so I'm actually going to stick it in a couple Ziploc bags and freeze it. And then whenever we decide to make the extra cookie dough we've got icing already made for it. Okay, this is the most important part. We're gonna try one. Okay. I am really glad we did not add any more sugar than we did. Any sweeter and it would be sickly sweet. And I have made that mistake with American buttercream before. But because we cut the sugar back a little bit, I really whipped the frosting a lot so you can see there's a lot of air. If I were trying to make a cake, I wouldn't want it to be this whipped because it wouldn't get a really smooth coating on the outside. But for these cookies, I really wanted it to have a light whipped consistency. And I also only added just a little bit. I don't know how well you can see that. I didn't add a ton of icing on the top, and it's perfect. It's not super sweet. I feel like the kids on Thursday are gonna get a lot of treats during school and as they come home from school. So I didn't want anything chocked full. Well, this is chocked full of sugar, but I didn't want anything too sweet. And these are absolutely delicious. So buttery. American buttercream does have its time and place, and I have to admit that this is a good one for it. But because there's so much butter in the cookies and the icing, it really does have a nice, delicious, buttery flavor. And as we both know, I love the flavor of butter. So I think those are gonna be a hit with the school or with the kids. And I have plenty of extra for us to eat at home or to share with some family. So I'm really excited about that. I will say that for a special occasion like this, for Valentine's Day, it was worth the time and effort it took to roll everything out, cut everything out, bake it in batches, ice them individually. It was worth it. These are pretty darn good. Now comes the hard part of trying not to eat them before I can send them to school on Thursday. Thankfully, I have extras, but I need to go ahead and really I'm gonna let these dry for a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and box them up and store them till it is time to send to school. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate you spending this time with me in the kitchen as we made cookies for my kids and stuffed their Valentine's Day bags. I was glad to get both of those things checked off the list. Make sure to hit the like button to let me know that you liked this type of content, and hit the subscribe button for more videos from me. Thanks so much. Yum.